Hi Pisces, welcome to Sugar Free. This is your Q4 reading 2023, October, November and December. Now October, as I understand it, is an absolute belter of a month astrologically. I think there's this thing called the 1010 portal. And I remember one of my favourite readers on here last year going on about this 1010 portal and saying there's life before it and life after it. And I'll tell you what, he was right. He really, truly was. Something happened to me on the 10th of October last year that just changed everything, absolutely everything, and brought a whole new chapter into my life. And it happened on the 10th of October. So there we go. That's one to keep an eye out. And there are eclipses and Venus going direct and goodness knows what. Anyway, I don't know whether you like all that stuff, Pisces. I don't know. I mean, I'm a Taurus, so I'm not too down to earth for all that. But anyway, it's my little joke. Right, so let's see what's coming in for October, November and December for you, Pisces. I've got some important Pisces people in my life, sun, moon and ascendant. So I know your energy quite well, if I may. So let's have a look. What I'm going to do, I've got two decks here, and I've got here the major arcana of the ancient Italian tarot. Really, really nice. I'll give that another shuffle now that I've opened it. Freshen it up again. And over here, I've got the minor arcana of the Rider-Waite split into its suits. So what I'm going to do is this is not an orthodox way of reading, it's just the way that works for me. So what I'm going to do is pull three major arcana and then clarify each of those three major arcana with one from each suit of the minor arcana. That's how I do it, Pisces. So, you know, maybe you'll like it. We'll see. Right, I'm going to cut that, stick that down, open it up into three and take the top card from each one. Okay. Judgment. Well, something's afoot. Fall in reverse. That's afoot. Something's afoot. And the devil. Oh, old Nick. Rightio. Oh man. Well, do you know what? I've got the sense that we're coming into the reading here because this first position is things as you see them, things as they appear, the immediate kind of energetic surroundings. Position number two is the hidden energy, and position number three is like the big picture. Okay. So, I mean, judgment, you know, second to last card of the major arcana. This is where things have to be gone over again. And I'm getting the phrase Groundhog Day off of this. And I'm getting the feeling like something, yes, some ground has been gone over or has to be gone over again and again. There's something grueling about this and sort of unavoidable. Okay. I'm just saying how it feels straight away. So that would be nice to be able to move on from that, wouldn't it? But perhaps we're going to get a little looky-see in the minor arcana when I clarify about why that might be, what might be underpinning that. Here in the hidden energy or the veil or the obscuration, the kind of the fuzzy kind of focus or the bits, I was going to say the bits outside of our the spectrum of our vision, but that's also that. So I'll whatever. Okay, what we don't see and perhaps what's blocking our vision. So it's either an absence or a presence of something that isn't helpful necessarily, or is obscuring things. And we've got the I was going to say the devil in the reverse. How interesting. We've got the Fool in the reverse here. I mean, the Fool is, you know, only two cards away from judgment. Here, we've only got to go through the world, card number 21, and then we start off on a new cycle again. So this feeling of something always being sort of unearthed, having to be unearthed and dug up and sifted through and gone through again and again and again, checking and balancing, checking and balancing, checking and balancing. Are all the T's crossed? Are all the I's dotted? And what's that stuff? Like, what's that in the back of the karmic chest of drawers? All right. In this energy here, it's all hiked out and reckoned up. This is the reckoning. But as I say, it seems like it's been going on for a long time. And yeah, I'm getting tiredness off this Fool in the reverse. This sort of sense of it's never going to change. All right. And the only thing that never changes is that everything changes. So any thoughts about something sort of going on forever in a good way as well, okay, not just in a bad way, they're equally faulty as ways of seeing things, because everything changes. And as I say, that's the only thing that never changes. And the devil, I mean, you know, what can I say? This is sort of compulsion, addiction, impulsive, reactive behavior. I don't usually see that in the devil, but I'm seeing it today, sort of like knee-jerky, sort of being like prodded inside by there's a being triggered, and a kind of feeling of being tied and sort of netted. It's not very comfortable so far, Pisces. I hope you won't sort of, but you know, this is the bigger picture. And yeah, I'm not sure it's possible to be trapped like that when one really, really engages with the bigger picture. So anyway, we'll see. I'm going to start clarifying. This is really pokey reading, Pisces. I've got to tell you, this is a pokey reading. Right, let's get one from the Pentacles for judgment. Queen of Pentacles. Well, she knows what she's looking at. She really does know what she's looking at. And as I said here, you know, this is this sort of unearthing of things, this endless kind of turning over of the soil, or certainly the process of turning the soil over. I mean, look what's coming up, you know. But this is a very, very different energy. Queen of Pentacles, this is stable. This is steady growth. It's the Shakti of steady growth. It's not just steady growth, but it's how steady growth happens. And it happens with love. This is really, really nice. So I'm going to have to keep pulling to sort of see how these things work together. I mean, maybe what's being unearthed here and sort of hiked out from the back of the drawer for re-examination and going through. You've got to go through this process before you can get to the world, to the resolution, the final resolution, like the universal resolution on whatever it is. You've got to go through this, because if you try to get to that final position without going through this, it's going to be lumpen, really lumpen. And I mean, soil that is constantly turned over and constantly dug at. Yeah, this is like no dig. I don't know if you know the method of gardening called no dig. I mean, it's fantastic from a sort of ecological point of view, and it gives really, really good results. But you've got to be pretty rich to do it, because it basically involves just slapping a load of really, really well-rotted manure and compost straight onto your soil. And you can even do it straight over the weeds, just like bung a big old layer of growing matter growing medium, and plant your little like plug plants or sow your seeds, and it works really well. But you've got to get that. You've got to make that investment. Yeah, this is like no dig. This is dig, and this is no dig. Let's keep going. 4 of Wands. Do you know, I wonder, Pisces, whether there's been some sort of revelation here. Because, I mean, the 4 of Wands is like the entry point to a new phase, a sort of a new world, a new paradigm of experience. And, you know, it's a happy move. You know, there's nothing we see behind this portal here that would make us think, oh, no, that's not a good idea. Nothing. And perhaps that's what's changed. Perhaps that's what's been sort of discovered, and what's sort of made it through the karmic sieve, which is judgment. Oh. 3 of Swords. Well, this doesn't always just mean heartbreak or someone, you know, someone's going to like hurt you or you're really hurt. It's also simply about how emotional pain informs us, what part it plays in our lives. You know, do we seek to learn and grow from situations that engender emotional pain, or do we glory in the delicious discomfort of it all and shore up our victim status a little bit further? Which one do we do? And sort of add the doer of this, add the stabber of your heart to your list of like bogeymen or women. This is up for examination. This is what it's about. This is what is unearthed here. And there's a willingness to engage with it. Yeah, look at that. There's a willingness to engage. 2 of Cups. This is beautiful, Pisces. I've got to say, this is really lovely. I mean, you know I sounded a bit like sinister and a bit heavy duty about the judgment card there, but you know, there's something just about this. There's something. This is like a boil being lanced, poison being drawn, like removed, or transcended, gone past. And I mean, without a kind of productive, if I can put it as neutrally as that, without a productive approach to emotional pain in our lives, it's very difficult to engage with this 2 of Cups energy. It's very difficult because this is equal and opposite exchange. This is exchange of opposites. This is unity of opposites. And this is equality in the context of difference. It's really beautiful. You know, it's such a democratic sort of exchange. You know, these 2 figures are not identical, far from it, but they respect each other fully in sort of in what they are. He respects her for herself and as a woman, and she respects him for himself and as a man, and what that means to each of them. And from that equal and respectful exchange comes this wonderful like double helix here rising from the cups. It's the caduceus. It's the healing. This is what it's all about. But like I say, you can't really get to that, not really, unless you've passed through the portal of this. This really does look huge for you, Pisces. It really does. And the the ground on which this is happening, you know, despite the kind of, yeah, the unearthing quality to this, the kind of the stuff coming up into the light that had perhaps been buried for some time. Despite that, the ground on which this happens is very stable and healthy. And this is a good thing happening here. It's a really good thing, but it's all about this. I mean, it's quite hard to sort of find a card more important than this in certain settings, you know. And this coming out in the context of the Queen of Pentacles and the Four of Wands, you know, this stability and this like optimistic move into a new place, a new way of doing things, a new approach. Yeah, it's beautiful. And it's about this. And bringing this emotional pain into this beautiful, stable and optimistic energy here. And, you know, that might sound a bit counterintuitive, but it's all about the will to learn and the will to grow from this. And that's what makes this possible. Okay, let's look at the hidden energy now. This is flipping amazing, man. Let's look at this. I mean, if this was my opening energy, I'd be looking at it and I'd be thinking, wow, there's some really serious, good, healthy work coming up for me here. And it's down to sort of my courage. How this comes out is down to my courage in you know, being real with myself about what this means to me. And it is this Three of Swords. It is, I feel very strongly in this reading, it is something to do with either, you know, experiencing this and growing, like in a really healthy way. And that's the Queen of Pentacles as well. She's like the Empress. She's like minor arcana Empress energy. You know, do we grow or do we simply dig ourselves in further? And perhaps that's what we've done in the past, and we can sort of sense that it's time to consider some other sort of approach. Right. Fall in the reverse in the hidden energy. So, okay. This is deep set. What happens to us around this Three of Swords in this reading is deep set, and it's so deep set and it's been there for so long that we can't really see it. I mean, Seven of Pentacles, this is about, you know, things coming to fruition, things growing, the cycle of seed, seedling, plant, flower, pollination, fruit. And within the fruit are the next seeds. It's something to do with that cycle. And this thing's been cycling round and around and around for a very long time. And my eye was suddenly drawn to the sticks here. I mean, the sticks are sort of support. Anyway, it's not a wands card, so I'll leave that alone. But yeah, this has been going on for a long time. But the fact that we're moving to this harvest time, there is some element of the importance of things coming to fruition at a particular time, okay? Because these things take a certain amount of time to grow. These pentacly pumpkins here. And, you know, it's not a complete, like, fuck-wittery to link the Seven of Pentacles with the Judgment card, because when it's ready, this stuff, like, it's ripe. There's a ripeness to this as well. But you know, this has been rumbling along, and perhaps this plant here has just like taken over the flipping garden. Seven of Wands. So we've got the Seven of Pentacles and then the Seven of Wands. Well, I mean, classically, it's defensiveness. But let me pull the rest. Yeah, well, listen, there's kind of long-term thinking. There's not even thinking. Sorry, it's not swords. It's Pentacles. It's Seven of Pentacles. The relationship with the world in terms of where our money comes from and how that feeds in to how we see ourselves and how we see the world. That has been going on, as is. I'm not making any judgment about whether that's good or bad, but it's been going on for a long time. So it's kind of concretized. And there's a sense here of having to sort of protect it. There's something that we're kind of staving off here. And I have a sense that this is about, again, it links back to this Three of Swords. I'm so interested to see. I've got the sword card on my lap. Okay. Knight of Swords. Well, I mean, the classic interpretation is like news coming in. I mean, news is always coming in, isn't it? Even if it's flashes of insight that we have completely like on our own like account. Don't know. But I mean, this is all very Fall in Reverse, Seven of Pentacles, Seven of Wands. This is very kind of static. And then we get this, the Knight of Wands. Knight of Swords. Let's pull the cups. Six of Cups. Right, well, look, any flashes of insight? Oh, hold on. I get the feeling today about the Knight of Swords, and I'm sitting here with my eyes shut. I'm really trying to get this right. This is about protecting something. This is about keeping something at bay by sort of use of thoughts and words. I mean, that might sound really like banal, and I'm sorry if it does. Because some of the mechanisms, some of the internal mechanisms we have, Pisces, for managing our lives and primarily for managing emotion, some of the mechanisms we have sort of are so ingrained. Seven of Pentacles. And seem so sort of right. And why would anyone want to sort of do it any other way? And why should you do it any other way? This is how you do it. And that's this sort of defensive energy. Or why should you change? And sort of expressing it all somehow. And I'm getting, the talk is cheap. That's what I'm getting off the Knight of Swords today. This sort of dashing around in terms of your mental and verbal phenomena, your mental and verbal karma. This is like dashing around, dashing from one thing to another. And I mean, that's a good way to sort of be defensive and be stuck without appearing to be. If you're like always like these kind of this like sparky high energy communication style maybe, but there's something, it's keeping, I don't know whether I'm saying it's keeping you, it's keeping us in this reading, Pisces, in a childlike position. And as a child, you can't go out into the world Fall in Reverse. It really fundamentally, you can't expand that much because it's just not safe to, because you're a child and you don't have the the kind of activity on the pentacle front or the action on the wands front to sort of actually make anything like really even feasibly viable. If you're stuck in this like child energy. Okay, that's what I'm getting from that. I'm going to pull on the devil now. Four of Pentacles. Well, didn't I say something back over here about the Four of Pentacles? I mean, this really is kind of devil energy. This is like, and I guess perhaps through fear of what will happen. I mean, look at him. Look, he can't do a bloody thing with those pentacles. Yeah, he's got them under his feet, like clutched to him and stuck on his bunts. He's not out and about, like spending them, earning them. He's just kind of sitting on what he's got, and he's put himself outside of the city walls. This is sort of lonely. Really, and it's such a different, I mean, she's holding a pentacle, Queen of Pentacles, and he's holding a pentacle over here. I mean, so yeah, he is some sort of king. He's a king who won't invest in his land, in his people, in himself. I mean, look at the difference how he's holding it. It's like he's clutching onto it almost like a wheel. Well, certainly like for dear life. Not this kind of tenderness that we see over here in the Shakti. And I mean, that isn't like totally alien, that sense to this devil thing, you know, this like constriction, netted. That's what I said about that, didn't I? Ooh. So I just realising this reading's a bit grim. Oh dear. It's sugar-free. Stings like a bee. Knight of Wands. Okay. Oh, mate. Nine of Swords. And the Nine of Cups. All right, listen, I'm just going to channel straight at you, Pisces. You don't have to sort of have this like rampant flipping glory about you. You don't have to have all the skills. You don't have to have like a special hat. You don't have to know how to ride a horse and make it do that and stay on. You don't have to be all flamboyant. You don't have to be charismatic. You don't have to be like super good. You just have to turn up. You just have to turn up. I mean, Nine of Cups here, you know, a good outcome is possible here. I'm going to have to pull like at least one oracle card for this. A good outcome's possible here, but this is the bigger picture column, you see, and the need to sort of perform in some way or to be seen, you know, this performance anxiety, Pisces. And this is this sort of fear that if you don't get it completely right, this will sort of not be, but there's too much narrative here. There's too much narrative. It's too much of a contrast between the Nine of Swords. I can see what's going on with the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Swords. There's this sort of fear of like falling off your horse or looking like a twit or getting it wrong or, you know, not being effective. But I can't yet see what this Nine of Cups is doing here. This is something about turning back in on the self. Because what's interesting about the Nine of Cups, to my mind, in this reading, what I'm seeing here, is everything being sort of set out for a group thing, okay? But there's no one else there. There's no one else there. He's just sitting there on his own with a lot to give, but like his arms folded, sitting on that chair. He's not going anywhere. This is about making the world, or feeling like the world should come to you. Whereas the truth is, you know, in order to deal with the world, you've got to go out and like, or in order for you and the world to be like together, and that's what we see really in the end of the Ten of Cups. We're only one away from it here. All that's missing here is other people. That's all that's missing there. Maybe I don't need an oracle card after all. Because you see, without it's not possible to live well if you don't engage productively with other people. It's just not possible. It doesn't matter what you've got to offer you. It doesn't matter how brilliant it is. If you're caught up in this energy, it's, again, really difficult. This is like a sort of bigger version, in a way, of this one, which is what it's supposed to be, really. This is like your micro and this is your macro. It's fractal. You got a flipping fractal fucking reading, Pisces. That's the only one out of all 12. It's bloody fractal. Ah, dear. All right, listen, if this is all about engaging with love, right? And perhaps thinking about, well, yeah, love, pain. Now, I'm a Buddhist, right? Pisces, I'm a Buddhist, and I'm sort of connected to a group of Tibetan Buddhist teachers, like monks and yoginis. And yeah, one of them, one of these monks, he's in his 80s, this chap. He's been a monk all his life. He's been a Tibetan monk, a Buddhist monk all his life. And he said, he's never married or anything, but some of them do these days. He apparently said, if you want pain, have a relationship. It's apparently what he said. Oh, I loved it. So listen, I'm going to pull one from the Buddhist prayer deck. All right, this is a really lovely deck. My mum bought it for me, actually, a good decade ago. I've just started using it. Okay, there we go. Oh, blimey. Okay. This is the one that came up. The finest souls, like lotus petals in a pool, are spotless. Muddy water just runs off them. They are never blemished. Okay, that's really, really interesting. That is, oh, right. That is from the Lalita Vistara Sutra, 3rd century AD. Now, Lalita is a goddess, a yogini, like I said, and a Shakti, and a really, really down in the roots of everything, energy, like really powering the whole kind of phenomena of existence. And I think the name Lalita, it's not Lolita, it's Lalita, is something to do with the Sanskrit word for play. It's the energy of play. Oh no, perhaps no, that's Lila. Sorry, not Lalita. Anyway, I have chanted. I've done at least one, possibly some other, because I mean Lalita, like all the yoginis, like all the goddesses, all the Shakti, all the different forms of Shakti. They've all got 1,000 names and they all share each other's names and everything. But yeah, what did I do? I did Lalita. One of the names of Lalita is she who completely destroys sin or bad karma by the use of mantra formulas. There's a particular mantra for that. Om Papa Nashinya Namaha, Om Papa Nashinya Namaha, Om Papa Nashinya Namaha. I did a 40-day practice of that mantra a good 10 years ago, and by God, it was like a 10-10 portal. In fact, it might even have been around that time of year. I don't know. In my first year of practice, I did a 40-day practice of that mantra, and so much became clear to me about what was keeping me in this kind of energy here. But what I'm also struck by here, and I was quite surprised to see it in a Buddhist prayer deck, is this kind of comparative thing about the finest souls. Yeah, that's a superlative. Fine, finer, finest. And I doubt, I mean, the word fine has so many meanings. I mean, obviously it's got like, how are you? Yeah, I'm fine. But then you've got like fine hair, fine tooth comb, fine fabric. It's all about this kind of lightness, isn't it? And things can be too fine, like a fine line. You know, it's kind of morally neutral, fine. But there's a temptation to read this. But I mean, this is, needless to say, a translation from Sanskrit, I guess. It would have been that. You know, the temptation is to read this and say sort of like the best people are never blemished. But I don't think that would ever come up, certainly not in Buddhist thinking. As I say, this, you know, all souls, well, I mean, in Tibetan Buddhism, I don't think there's actually any belief in the soul. I should know that because I've been a Tibetan Buddhist for like 3.5 years now. I should know that. I know there's no creator God in Tibetan Buddhism. I mean, the way I would interpret this for you in this reading, Pisces, is that the finest of your soul, the finest, the truest, the clearest, the most limpid and transparent aspects of your soul and of you, like the lotus petals, it's never blemished. It's never blemished. It doesn't matter what you do. And that is definitely present in Buddhist thinking. The sense that the enlightened mind, right, the liberated mind, that is the object and the destination and the motivation for practice, for Buddhist practices, is to move towards that enlightenment. It already exists within you. It's already there. It's primordial. And the whole thing about practicing with the motivation towards liberation is practicing to remove the obscurations, basically, the extraneous bits, and uncover. It's like the thing about creating a statue. You know, you don't like create the statue, you chip away the stone that is around the form that is the statue. It's a different approach. So I mean, this is a really, in the context of this reading, Pisces, this is a really lovely message to get, because what it means is that this worry here, this performance anxiety here, that is stopping you moving into new phases, and sort of staying stuck. You're stuck in the Four of Pentacles, stuck in the devil energy. There's a real kind of something's like cracking under the surface and sort of coming up here, and it's to do with emotional pain. I mean, what happens to us? How do we reject ourselves when we get shit wrong? Like we were so worried about over here, and it keeps us isolated, keeps us in a childlike state, and it prevents us from really engaging as equals, different and equal, as we see here in the Two of Cups. There's no need for that, because all souls, every single soul, and even, you know, if you go like full on Tibetan Buddhist, all sentient creatures, all sentient beings, all of them, even like the horrible ones, the ones we don't like, all have what they call Buddha nature inside them. It's just, you cannot exist as a sentient being without a Buddha nature existing. So, yeah, you can afford to sort of let go a bit. And I mean, maybe, I was going to say, maybe sort of looking at the deeper past might sort of give you some sort of grist to the mill in this process. Clearly some sort of process here, because there's a wish to move. There's a wish to move. There's all this wonderful energy here. And then it's like stucky in there, and it's sort of stuck and chaotic, okay, in terms of thinking. And really what's going on is just performance anxiety, keeping you isolated. I mean, if you feel like that, Pisces, think about how all these other like souls of sentient beings think about it, how they feel about it. Yeah, everybody feels like that. Absolutely everybody. And, you know, that's the democratic nature of the Buddhist notion of compassion. Yeah, it's not selective. Anyway, I think I probably should leave it there, Pisces, because I've been going on for quite a long time. So democratize your sort of worries, or your issues, or, you know, whatever it is you're grappling with, like, democratize it. We are all basically in the same boat. All right. I'm going to leave that there. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great Q4. Hope to see you again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.